And welcome back to our next edition of the CBB Review Studio Podcast. I am Dan Siegel, joined by Matt Mlodzinski, Ariel Puterman today. And we have college football games going on this weekend, but we are talking college basketball. There are those games as well. Let's dive right into it. 10 games. We will be picking all of them. And it starts, well, speaking of college football, of the first ever, actually, historical fact, college football game. But yes, they will be playing on the hardwood on Saturday. So, Matt, what do you think?
Look, very even game. I think that Rutgers is starting to come along a little bit. We've seen both Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper play a little bit better, but I like Princeton's defense in this one. Rutgers struggled against Seton Hall and Seton Hall's defense. I think that Princeton has better offense, most teams do, than the Pirates, and I'm kind of basing it off of that. I think that Princeton takes this battle between New Jersey teams.
Yeah, I think Rutgers can't afford two mid-major losses in the non-conference. They lost to Kennesaw State earlier this season at Kennesaw State. Mm-hmm. So I think they understand that if they want to make the tournament, they have to win this game. I think the freshmen really show out against, Princeton has really good guards, but I think they have that talent mismatch, and I think they'll take this one.
I'm going Rutgers. I think Princeton, they're not really a generally good defensive team. I think it's their stars against Princeton stars. That's the way I view it. Bailey and Harper against Xavier Lee, who is very good, but give it to the two of the top three picks in the NBA draft coming up. Marquette and Xavier also at noon. Xavier is coming off of a 1-3 stretch. All three losses coming down to the wire. Woof, that's been brutal, but do you think they pull off this one?
Look, just the Zach Fremantle injury, like last year, is going to continue to kill Xavier. You hate to see it. It's just very bad, and you kind of just feel for the guy so much and the program. With that being said, even with Zach Fremantle, I'm not sure if Xavier is going to beat this Marquette team. They weren't playing absolutely outstanding with him on the court. And the Cintas Center really isn't a difficult place to come in and play, especially if you're a team like Marquette. So I think Marquette wins this one.
You probably upset a lot of people, but that's up to you to do. I agree with you that Fremantle injury is going to be huge. And I was actually really impressed they hung around with UConn at UConn earlier this week. But that being said, I think Marquette just got too much talent without Fremantle, and they'll take this one.
I'll go Xavier. I'll go against the grain. Even without Fremantle, Xavier has shot the three ball extremely well this year. Marquette has not shown the ability to win these. Maybe even if you don't call it a tough road game, just any sort of notable road games. They lost to Iowa State at Iowa State. They lost to Dayton at Dayton. Give me Xavier. 12:30, Mississippi State at Memphis.
Well, one team that just can't shoot the ball, one team that can score the ball when they're playing well. Will Memphis be able to defend? I think that's the biggest thing here. But I think their offense carries them through a Mississippi State team that I just find it so hard to trust when it looks like it could be a game where it might be first to 80. So give me Memphis here at home.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you again. Memphis' guards are so good. PJ Haggerty's pretty much unstoppable and just so smart as a player. Tyrese Hunter's shooting the ball unlike anything I've ever seen before. Just going from like an average 33% shooter to a 48% shooter this year is pretty incredible. I think they just have too much talent to overwhelm them, and I think Memphis takes this one at home.
Yeah, that Tyrese Hunter development has been so random and so beneficial for Memphis. They're going to rain threes as a team all day. They're shooting over 41% as a team from three. Mississippi State, in terms of three-point defense, is barely inside the top 300 nationally. So give me Memphis as well. Memphis across the board. We're headed into ACC land with this one. Wake Forest at Clemson at 2 o'clock on Saturday.
Look, really good game if you're just looking for a conference game between two teams that have what it takes to make an NCAA tournament. Wake Forest, I think, could very much benefit from a win like this on the road at Clemson. But look, Ian Shefflin is just such a great player. He just does it all. He can score the ball. He can rebound the ball. In our previews, going back to the previews, I mean, he was a guy that I shouted out that I thought could kind of take over for their loss down low from the year prior, and he's really taken that next step forward, averaging almost 13 points, 13 rebounds. Give me Chase Hunter. Give me Clemson at home over Wake Forest.
Yeah, I've been so disappointed with Wake Forest this year. I was really high on them in the preseason. They've just been really disappointing. Guards haven't been as good as we wanted. Forwards have really struggled as well. Against good competition, they just really haven't shown up at all. And until they can prove otherwise, I think I have to go with Clemson. They've lost their last two games against Memphis and South Carolina, but I think they turned around at home here.
I'm of the opinion that these random ACC games, you can't really pick them with any degree of confidence. I think Clemson has the edge here. I want to agree with you guys. I think I will. Tigers, though, coming off of 2 tough overtime losses, man, do they need to bounce back? I say they will, and they win a game they really can't lose, because if you want to make the tournament in the ACC, you can't lose many games at all. So Clemson comes out on top on Saturday. This one is at 3 o'clock, and because I'm a basketball over football guy, I might actually scalp some last-minute tickets and head here. MSG, North Carolina versus number 18, UCLA.
Look, and this should be a great game for the fans at the Garden, a UCLA team that is definitely blown by the expectations that I thought they would have coming into the season. Mick Cronin just knows how to turn things around on a whim. But a North Carolina team that desperately needs a win like this, probably more than any other team in college basketball this weekend. And I think that UNC is going to get it. I just can't see North Carolina losing another game like this. I think their guard plays enough, even though UCLA's had some pretty good guard play too. And I like UNC at MSG, but I have a feeling this one has the makings to be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Must win for UNC. They can't afford to go 6-6 before the new year.
I'm going UCLA. Oh, you're not done yet?
Yeah, sorry, I just paused to think because this is actually a really tough one. I just don't know who will stop Tyler Bilodeau down low. He's been unbelievable. He's been Mick Cronin's class pet, if anything. And I think just down low they'll have enough. Even though UNC has really good guards, I just don't know if they can overpower them. So I'm going to go with UCLA here.
All right. Well, I guess I swayed you enough. UCLA, I mean, I was high on Mick Cronin, bouncing back going into the year. UCLA kind of has gone under the radar during the season at 10-1, though, because they just haven't played very many big games. But I think this is their time. This is their stretch right here. They play UNC. They play Gonzaga after that. Not sure they beat Gonzaga, but I think they do beat UNC. So I'll go UCLA. This is, if you're going to watch a lot of football and you want to tune into one basketball game or keep an eye on it, it's definitely this one. Number 2, Auburn. Number 16, Purdue in Birmingham. So I guess kind of an Auburn home game.
Look, a Purdue team that I think has just played so much better than expected early on without Zach Edey, right? It's one thing if they were going to put it together in the Big Ten play. It's another thing that after just utilizing Zach Edey year after year for multiple years, he's the focus of your offense. To then say bye-bye and stay in the top 25, I think that is a very big statement for Matt Painter. I don't think it means that Purdue is going to go into Alabama and beat Auburn, right? It's just a loaded Auburn team. Broom's playing like the player of the year. We've all said that. I think this is another statement for him to be able to do it against another quality team, right? But I just don't know what front core of Purdue is going to be able to stop Broom inside.
Yeah, and I think the big question is whether Broom will even play. Obviously, he got hurt in the last game, missed, I think, most of the first half and the entire second half. Don't know if we got an update yet, so that'll be a big question mark. I think even without Broom, this team is just too good. No matter, they just throw a bunch of guys at you. Pettifer is going to show up big in this game. Miles Kelly has been great. Baker Mazzara, Dylan Cardwell, it just keeps going and going. And if Braden Smith and Coffin Wren aren't at their A game, then there just isn't enough talent behind them to overwhelm Auburn. So I'm going to go Auburn here.
Yeah, I think Purdue is a lot more flawed. Regarding Janai Broom, I think word on the street is he is going to play. That's what my Auburn people are telling me. Even if he doesn't play, I think they find a way. So I'll go Auburn as well. This one is an interesting one at 7 o'clock. Ariel, I know you have a lot of takes on this. I can't wait till it gets to you, but Kansas State at Wichita State.
I'm going to defer to Ariel. I'll just say something quickly. I think Wichita State's playing very well. It's a tough place to play at home, but this must be the game picks of teams that really need wins, and something tells me Kansas State gets it done. I think they've heard the noise, and I think they understand that while this might not be a win that's going to automatically get you into the tournament, it's a win that they need to get back on track. Give me K-State.
Yeah, I mean, K-State, they're 0-4 against Q1 and Q2 teams. Just lost to Drake on a neutral. So they really need this win. Obviously, they'll have a lot of opportunities in the Big 12, but you never want to go into conference play 0-5 against that Q1, Q2. Wichita State looked really unimpressive against DePaul. They got blown out, and I know it's tough to play on the road, but it just looked really uninspirational, and they didn't really look like they could compete with a Power 5 team. So I think it will be close, like Matt said, but I think K-State will win by 4 or 5.
What is Kansas State's best win this year? Probably GW. If they win this game, that becomes their best win. I think the Shockers win in their home building. I'm going to go Wichita State Wichita State hasn't beaten anybody, but boy, have I not liked what I've seen out of Kansas State. I'll go with the home team. This one is another neutral site. This one in San Jose. We got Oregon against Stanford.
Look, Kyle Smith just understands how to build programs, and he's doing it yet again at Stanford. You just got to give him credit for what he's been able to do. So I don't think we should overlook a Stanford team that started strong. I know I picked against Oregon in one of these recent podcasts because I just felt like they've had some closer games than I'd like. But it's just tough in this situation where it's a Stanford team that really hasn't picked up a quality win like in Oregon. So it'd be hard for me to say that all of a sudden they're just going to be able to figure out how to beat a top 10 team in the country and slow down Jackson Shellstead and those Ducks. So give me Oregon in San Jose.
Yeah, I think Oregon wins this game by 20, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone has an answer for Shellstead, and they'll just keep abusing him until they find an answer, and then they'll go to TJ Bamba, and they'll go to Biddle, and they'll go to Cook. It should be a blowout, honestly. If Oregon doesn't blow them out, then it says a lot more about them than it does about Stanford.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Oregon is as good as their 10-1 record indicates. That said, if you look at Stanford and their 9-2 record, they are not nearly as good as their 9-2 record. 229th in strength of schedule. They haven't been blowing out their bad teams. They've lost to Cal Poly. I put it in because it's a regional game, but I agree. I think Oregon should win. Next up, speaking of regional games out on the West Coast, we got another one. This one, a late night, 10:30 on the ACC network. We got Cal against San Diego State.
A classic ACC meeting between Cal and, well, what conference is San Diego State in? Are they in the Summit League or the Colonial? Or I don't even know. Who knows nowadays? I don't think it matters what conference they're in. They're going to win this game over Cal. San Diego State, just year after year. It doesn't matter who they have. It doesn't matter who they bring in. It doesn't matter who they lose. Brian Dutcher just knows how to make them a perennial power in the Mountain West. I can confirm that's the conference they're in, and I can confirm that's the pick I'm going with today.
Yeah, I think this will be a little closer than it should be, just because San Diego State slows the tempo down so much, and they're going to try to beat you with their defense. I think they're a little too athletic for Cal. If Stojakovic has another big game like he did earlier this week, then I think they have a shot. But that defense and athleticism from San Diego State might just be too much for this Cal team.
Yeah, it's the defense that San Diego State's going to win at. They're second in the country in block rate. 7-foot redshirt freshman Moan Guaf. Boy, has he been impressive. He's blocked 20% of the shots that have been taken against him on the court. So kind of insane. Cal is not really stopping much of anyone. So I'm going to go San Diego State. Wait, yeah, just to confirm, he's not been blocking 20% of the shots. He has per 100 possessions, I think, or something like that. The 20% block.
Third in the country in blocks per game right now.
Yeah. Not quite that much, but he's put up some insane numbers. Final game of the night, or actually this one moving on to Sunday, we got Utah State at St. Mary's, staying on the West Coast.
This is incredible because these two teams have lost a combined 3 games, and they're 10 points away from both being undefeated. That's how great these teams have been. That's how consistent they've been. They've both played difficult schedules. Utah State with some wins over Iowa, over St. Bonaventure. St. Mary's with some wins over U. I mean, they destroyed USC. That was incredible what they did way back to USC. I just think that the fact that this game is at St. Mary's gives them the edge here, right? I think that Utah State is an incredible team. I think they deserve to be ranked in the top 25 of the AP poll. But I think St. Mary's gets a statement win here.
Yeah, really great mid-major talent here. You got Marshalonis, you got Saxon, you got Martinez, and Falser, all really great players. I think it'll really come down to how those 4 players do in the end of the game. Like Matt said, I think just that home court advantage is going to be enough for St. Mary's. Really tough place to play. That defense is always going to be there, so I'll lean with St. Mary's here.
I'll go Utah State. This will be a physical battle, too. Both teams in the top 5 in offensive rebounding rate. Ultimately, though, Mason Falslev stretches out St. Mary's on the floor. Ian Martinez, I think he's got to get it going from 3. I think he will. 2 of those guys are very good scorers, and I think that's what puts Utah State over the top at St. Mary's. That does it for today's edition of the CBB Review Studio podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and we will have you covered with some takeaways after the weekend. Once again, thanks for watching and listening, and take care.